Out. I mean, I'm not a veteran, and I don't live up there. But the veterans I met, almost every single veteran that I met that's coming from Iraq or Afghanistan has post-traumatic stress, is dealing with mental illness, is dealing with alcohol and drug abuse. They're under extraordinary stress. There isn't enough supports and care for our soldiers that are returning, so they're either acting out like, with violence that they've been taught, or unfortunately, are self-medicating.
One of the things that I talked about in an article that I wrote was the fact that these people come home. And I shouldn't say these people, these are brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles that come back to our communities. Were there concern with the people that were trying to support these soldiers that were feeling this and going through PST about what's going to happen when they return to regular society? And many of us don't care, don't understand, would probably tell people, suck it up and be a real man and get your life together. How do they reconcile that, and just how much in danger are we?
Yeah. It's not reconciled very well. You're exactly right. Vets are told is to suck it up, to be a man, that emotions are something you can control, let alone the fact that, they were somewhere away from their families and friends and may have been forced to kill people. So that's extremely traumatic, and we can't assume that those wounds are going to be healed easy, and we need to accept that war is costly, both in human terms and financially, and that the human terms are that we have to deal with not only the society that we're inflicting war upon, but also our own soldiers, and that we are, in some ways, are devastating people's lives, and we need to help these people that are returning, not only for their own lives, but because we are going to be living with all these returning veterans.
We're here in Texas right now, and yesterday, I turned on the TV, or Saturday, I guess, and it had the entire military. We got a chance to see all four branches of the military, generals and everybody, at the Longhorn game, at UT's game, which is very popular here. They had Air Force or fighter jets fly over the stadium, and I remember people saying, this is the heart of patriotism, and it seemed like there was no mourning for the 13 dead, but it seemed like this was an occasion to ratchet up even more. What is that about? And, for people, you live here, is that a spirit that is detrimental, or is that something that is healing?
I don't think it's healing at all. I think it's forcing this political amnesia that we have. To actually have real mourning to the tragedy that happened last Thursday, we would have to admit that our veterans and our soldiers, to actually have real mourning to what happened on Thursday, we'd actually have to acknowledge the real mourning, the healing that all of us, especially soldiers returning, actually need. And to just brush it off as a lone, crazy person, and it really is a distraction from the reality of the situation. Those generals, unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me because of the classist nature of our military. And that those generals, I'm sure they care about their troops, but are, I think, very far removed from the poor working people that make up the ranks in our military, and also the support that the working class veterans get when they return here. The fact that they have to wait hours to see a doctor sometimes at VA hospitals.
We're talking with Matthew Kasaj. We are standing out here, Cesar Chavez Avenue in Austin, Texas, and he is the documentarian who put together a video. I shouldn't say video, but a mini documentary called Injured Hearts, Injured Minds. It's something that came out almost a month and a half before the tragedy at Fort Hood. We want to listen to some parts of your documentary, but for people who pick it up online, give us some of the highlights and some things that you really want us to pay attention to.
Well, I think what really was important too is, mine isn't the only one, but really the need is to listen more to the soldiers' own stories, which isn't being done enough. In the corporate media, you hear the generals on CNN, and you hear people that are supportive of the military, and there's really a lot of dissent that's in the armed forces. And I think really promoting soldiers from telling their own stories, and whenever you can, such as the Winter Soldier series that's happened, is really do your best to hear people from their point of view. But this film, I just went up there for a day. It's a coffee shop in Killeen, Texas, and it's kind of a safe space for soldiers that do disagree with the status quo, and they do disagree with the wars, and they do disagree with how the military is run. And it's a safe space for soldiers to go and to organize and just to talk and